Occupying over 22 hectares, its main Cathedral Cellar production complex and headquarters situated in the Cape Winelands in Paarl, KWV, or Cooperative Wynbouwers Vereniging van Zuid-Afrika, has a rich history as one of South Africa's most prominent wine and spirits producers. As a winemaking cooperative, KWV was founded on the 8th of January 1918 by winemakers, with Dr. Charles W.H. Kohler elected as KWV's chairman. In 1924, the KWV Act was passed. KWV became responsible for specific administrative tasks and became the sole exporter and importer of surplus alcohol. 2 years later, the company became one of the first brandy producers in the Cape and exported their bottlings to the UK. The cooperative was granted increasing legislative control over the production, sale and export of South Africa's distilling wine and spirits, which allowed the body to experiment with innovations in the industry, aiding its development. Professor Abraham Izak Perold, the legendary botanist, ampelograph and wine scientist, then developed the Pinotage grape in 1928 to join KWV and become responsible for the experimentation of new cultivars and to improve quality control processes. In 1930, KWV's impressive Cathedral Cellar in Robertsons was completed, known for its dome-like ceiling and beautiful lighting. Over the years, it has been refurbished and is now a popular tourist attraction. As a leader in the field, KWV accepts responsibility for the environment. The company, as well as all its grape suppliers, are members of Integrated Production of Wine, a voluntary environmental sustainability scheme. France signed the Crayfish Agreement in 1935, granting exclusive rights to French geographical terms such as Champagne and Bordeaux on wine labels in exchange for importing South African crayfish. The outbreak of World War II causes exports to decline and domestic brandy consumption to increase. KWV then expanded its export market to Africa and the East. With access to grapes from more than 50 farms and 400 vineyard sites across the Western Cape's Paarl, Stellenbosch, Swartland, Purderberg, Malmesbury, Darling, Elgin, Robertson and Wellington regions, KWV's ability as a commercial producer to source the finest quality grapes for a premium expression of the Cape Winelands is unrivaled. A massive fire in 1942 devastates the KWV cellars in Stellenbosch. A single barrel of prized KWV brandy is salvaged and transported to Paarl Rudeberg, is officially launched in 1949 and becomes one of South Africa's most iconic wines, largely due to its scarcity value and the fact that it isn't widely available in South Africa. La Concorde, KWV's head office, is completed by Lau and Lau Architects in 1958. This sees the beginning of KWV's extensive art collection. In 1964, KWV becomes a leader in wine education with a series of wine and food appreciation courses and films. In 1974, KWV made a significant contribution to the highly acclaimed South African Wine of Origin, or WO scheme that was initiated in 1972 and officially implemented in 1973. The WO system changed from a certification system to an origin system in 1979, and thanks to KWV and its various contributors, it has continued to evolve into the highly lauded tour de force it is known for today. KWV purchases 30% of Stellenbosch Farmers Winery and Distillers Corporation in 1979, and together with Rembrandt, acquires the majority joint interest in Capwin in a move to restructure the industry. This also opens up new distribution possibilities for KWV. Until the early 1990s, KWV controlled the majority of the wine business. After the end of apartheid in 1994, exports increased and surpluses disappeared. Today, KWV is a large brandy producer. Over time, KWV's influence grew to such an extent that it effectively operated as a wine monopoly, wielding significant control over the South African wine market. The cooperative played a pivotal role in standardizing quality and regulations in the industry. While this brought about many benefits, such as improved wine quality and industry stability, it also led to substantial control over pricing and distribution. It was converted from its cooperative status into KWV Limited in 1997. Prime Minister Jan Smuts was a strong supporter of the initiative and was responsible for getting it through Parliament. The cooperative faced criticisms, though, for unethical business practices and concerns about political manipulation. So, throughout the early 2000s, the company won numerous international awards and became more involved in the restructuring of the wine industry, intent on creating opportunities for previously disadvantaged people. KWV was listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, JSE, in 2003, marking a significant step toward corporate restructuring and modernizing its operations to compete in a global market. For decades, KWV products were only exported and could not be purchased locally in South Africa. This changed in 2004 when the first brands were launched on the local market. Over the years, various leadership roles within KWV were filled by now legendary wine and spirits pioneers, including the father of Pinotage, Prof. Izak Perold, as well as Bux Venter, Ritsema de Labat, Danier de Wet, Laurens Jonker, Charles Theron, Neil Ellis, Johan Krieger, and Albert Eckstein. Their contributions lead to generational empires of wine farms, estates, and cellars. In 2004, KWV Limited entered into an agreement with Pettigore Investments, a Black Economic Empowerment Consortium, whereby the latter would purchase 25.1% of KWV Limited shares. As of 2005, this has been the largest empowerment transaction in the South African wine industry. Several of the remaining brands were launched on the local retail market as a result. Launched in 2006, KWV Diamond Jubilee Brandy flagship products include KWV 10, 15, and 20-year-old brandies, award-winning wines, and premium spirits. KWV Limited becomes KWV Holdings Limited in 2009 as part of an unbundling of its indirect interest in the Distell Group. In 2010, KWV formed a subsidiary of Niveus Investments, part of the HCY Black Empowerment Investment Group, and was the only South African producer listed on Drinks International's Most Admired Wine Brands Global Register. South Africa's first cognac is launched in 2014. The company unveils its KWV Heritage XO cognac, the first to be produced under a South African brand name, as well as 30-year-old KWV Nexus, the world's first commercially available brand containing pot still up to 42 years old. In October 2016, KWV was acquired by the Vasari Group under the leadership of Mr. Vivian Eimerman. Based in London, Vasari is a consumer-focused investment group that acquired the operational assets of KWV for 1.15 billion rands. KWV brandies are regular winners of Best Brandy of the World and Best Brandy and Cognac Producers of the World accolades. The KWV Wine Emporium offers sparkling wines, natural wines, fortified wines, liqueurs, and brandies, a variety of tasting experiences, and frequent cellar tours conducted in English and German. KWV wines are crafted with extraordinary skill and dedication. They work closely with grape growers and are involved throughout the process, from vineyard establishment to harvest. KWV winemakers regularly visit the vineyards to familiarize themselves with the terroir and the fruit, and new areas are constantly targeted to ensure grapes are obtained that fit the stylistic direction for KWV wines. There are three ranges of wines, namely KWV Reserve Collection for the expert wine drinker, KWV Classic Collection for the discerning drinker, and KWV Contemporary Collection, which offers a safe and trusted choice for the new wine drinker. KWV celebrated its centenary in 2018, and while firmly rooted in South Africa, it has penetrated international markets. KWV now boasts a global footprint with a portfolio of brands in over 100 markets. KWV's product portfolio spans across wines, brandy, gin, and liqueurs. KWV has become a prominent international brand. Their focus on premium wine and spirits has helped them establish a strong global reputation, particularly in Europe and Asia. Join us next time as we dissect the alcohol industry and the brands that make life feel great. The next episode should focus on South African breweries. Time will tell.